to connect to ourselves. Now, we talked a lot about self-leadership and how guiding others effectively allows us to inspire and lead others, but leadership isn't just about people. It's also about adapting to groundbreaking innovations. And few innovations are as transformative as AI, artificial intelligence, in the Web 3.0 era. To take us deeper into this fascinating topic, we will welcome here Mihai Crasneanu. Mihai is a four-time tech entrepreneur with 3 successful exits, including the European predecessor to Netflix he launched in 2001. A pioneer in emerging technologies, Mihai has been involved in crypto and blockchains since 2013 and is the co-founder of the Web3 streaming and live events platform Beem. As a founding member of DAIA, the Decentralized Artificial Intelligence Agents Alliance, Mihai is deeply involved in AI and advises corporations, startups, and investment funds on AI, the agentic economy, and Web 3. So let's discover the role of artificial intelligence in Web 3.0 from Mihai Crasneanu, and let's welcome him here on stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. How are you? How are you doing? Are you excited to hear about AI, Web3, and what's coming next for us, humans, on the planet? You are. Good. Let's listen to that. Let's see. I'll discover it with you. It's a discovery process for everyone. Before I really start to get into the topic, I want to break some news for you. You might not like it. The news is that 10,000 years of human evolution converted into that. They converted it, humans, right, who we are, into this device. We are no more than that. Actually, we are less than that. This is smarter than we are today. You might know it, but not really. But actually, it's proven that in the last 30 years, humans overall became more stupid. It wasn't supposed to go that way, right? We're supposed to evolve up there. But studies are showing that it's the other way around. And my assumption is that is a bit by design. And in a recent interaction with an AI agent, something came up which is amazing. The AI agent answered to one of the requests saying, I might be artificially intelligent, but some of you are naturally stupid. Coming from an AI agent. So, what's going on with us? I'm going to start there. Almost like a great transition from Raluca, look a bit of who we are. We're not very different from this device or any devices we created, right? If you think about it, humans are amazing at certain things. But in particular, we're amazing at creating tools. That's why we got here, where we are in our evolution, right? And tools that we create shape us, right? Back. And with that, we go and move forward. We're pretty much the only species that are self-evolving. We define our own evolution. That's quite amazing. But if you look at it, we created tools that might be, without maybe realizing, in our image. And this is our human architecture. It might sound weird, but if you look at it, it's quite interesting. So let's set aside the hardware for now, but look at the OS, the operating system. iOS, Android, Mac, Windows. Our OS is culture. It's the country you're born in. It's the family you're born in. It's the language you speak. It's the community you grew up in. It's maybe the religion, of course, right? Those are the things that you didn't choose. They come with you. They're just there, okay? That's the fundamental piece of the OS that operates each one of us, right? Like we have iOS on our phones. It's the same thing. And that evolves. I know who does the updates of iOS. It's Apple. It doesn't ask me much when it's updated. It just says, there's an update, you want to install it. It's automatic. What they put in there, I don't know. But in my OS, do I know how is it updated? Because it clearly is. I don't think I do. Do you? Do you? I don't think you do either. Then, on top of the OS, we have the apps. We have app stores. It's our education system, right? And those education institutions provide you with specific apps that have to be compatible with your OS. And your OS will not allow you to install certain apps because of your beliefs or your upbringing and so on. And therefore, we have a bunch of apps that we know because we see them and we are conscious about them. What about the apps that run in the background? There's many of them. We don't see them, but we feel they're running somewhere. How come they landed there? I don't know. Do you? We might have an idea, but not very clear, right? I know on a computer I might have a firewall, an antivirus, but me, I'm not sure. And then finally, there's the settings. Well, you have settings on your iPhone, right? In any app or on the settings themselves, you can choose how you want to see the things displayed, in what language, or maybe, different settings for every app. So this is for us the lens through which we see reality, the behaviors we have. And these are modified by what we consume every day, which is the media, the news, entertainment, endless hours on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, plus the peer pressure and everything that comes from everywhere, right? These are the essential settings that are overlaying all that. Now, how many of you on your phones have changed the default settings? You, one. Oh, I don't see so many people. 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're probably 500 people here. Just a handful of you changed the default settings for something personal. I bet that something similar happens in your daily lives because we are suffering today from cognitive overload. Therefore, we don't have time to imagine all the possible settings, how we should have them. So we just accept the way they are, right? In a nutshell, yeah, we're not much more than that. So, now that we said that, ask yourself, on your computer, you have the login and password, right? If you run a server in your company, you have the admin password. Do you have the admin password of your own OS and your own device? Do you? Not sure. That's an issue for me, to not know my own password, to get in the admin and see what's running, what apps are running, what apps are consuming my resources, okay? So that's an issue. We don't talk about antivirus here, okay? But clearly, because we have a cognitive system, I know I need physical protection now to protect myself. I need other kind of protections in my life. Do I have a cognitive protection? I don't think so. But I care about my antivirus, right? And I care about my PIN on my card when I get money from a cash machine. But I don't know how I operate. So that's a major issue we have right now, right here. And I didn't even get into AI yet. Good. So, we invented machines, amazing, after, a bunch of evolutions we had. And those machines started to be electronic, and we invented the binary code. It was those, pin cards we put in computers that were writing 0 and 1s to control our computers in the 60s and the 70s. Then we said, well, that's too hard to program, which it was. Let's evolve the language in which we program these things. So we evolved into maybe assembler. And then that was complicated as well, and we evolved into higher level programming languages. JavaScript or name it, right? Any language you like. It's more evolving. You need to learn how to program that, but it's more understandable for humans, okay? We become so good in programming those machines that we end up with a fantastic thing where actually, instead of programming with the computer's language, we started to be able now to program a computer with our own language, and then let the computer program itself in its own language. That's marvelous, okay? Probably not perfect yet, but we were nowhere here like 1 year ago, 2 years ago. We're getting there in a couple of months to be absolutely amazingly perfect. So right now we have computers to which we can talk in our normal language and they write code for them. The thing is, it's a two-way alley, right? They talk back to us in our language. So now suddenly we have a machine talking to us in our own language. But what is a language? Actually, we invented it, right, first for them, clearly to program them. Now, do we really know, when we interact with those machines, that when they speak back to us, they use our language? That we assumed it's essentially for communication. That's what you're here every day. Language is for what? Communication. What if language is actually for programming? And it is. Think about it. When we were, tribes in the caves, talking, right? It wasn't just to tell stories, to program all of us in the tribe to not get killed, survive. That was the programming. It's part of our survival. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. The bad thing is to tell us today, no, words are only information. No, words are not information. Words carry a weight, even very deep weight. Take religions, take spirituality, take mantras. The sound of the words have power, So, yes, words do program us. And everything we have and get back from ChatGPT and all the others are also programming us. Do we realize that? We don't. Of course we don't. We find it just funny we think we talk to the machine. Machine talks back. And machine can program us, okay? So, because we weren't even aware we had an OS running, and we don't even have the admin keys to the OS, now suddenly we have a stuff that's programming us without even realizing. So, awareness is an essential part of it. Good. I think if you take a moment now and you think about yourself as a hardware with an operating system and apps and settings, being all day long programmed by something, you maybe have a different perspective on your life. And by the way, before AI, we had everything else programming us. Governments, religions, media, news, all that is programming. Insidious, right? But it's there. But now it's very visible. So, let's go back to AI. Now we chat with AI, so I guess all of you, right, you're familiar with ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, right? Do you use them? Yeah? Good. If you don't, you should. Actually, I wouldn't say it's a suggestion. My recommendation, very personal, is that it's mandatory if you want to survive. And it's mandatory if you want to evolve, right? So, what's the next step? What's after ChatGPT? Well, after ChatGPT, it's what's called the agentic world. It's very simple. ChatGPT is just text, maybe voice, right? But now give ChatGPT a way to act upon things. I mean, how do you act in the digital world? You click with your mouse and you type things on a keyboard and you see things with your eyes. Well, now ChatGPT can see also, right? Can type, can click, because this is our interfaces. But guess what? Now we do have systems that are built around ChatGPT and all the other LLMs, right? Large language models and AIs that can become agentic. It means they can perform actions. Like they see a screen, they can click, they can type like you would. Interesting. So suddenly then, something what was just funny, nice little chatbot can do things. Well, so they can do, what can they do? Well, they could navigate the web, they can act on your behalf, they can make bookings, they can pay if they have your payment information, they can make decisions, they can do a bunch of things, okay? And obviously, those agents are already running and operating. It's a bit early stage, but it's already quite deployed. And they are becoming autonomous. I mean, some of them now are acting without even human intervention. Beyond that, so if you're an institution, a business, and so on, you want to have agents to do a bunch of things for you because you're going to save money. And at some point, I want to have my own agent. I want to book a trip somewhere. The number of hours I'm going to spend looking for hotels, flights, and so on, they match the car rental and so on. I can deploy an agent, do that for me, come back in an hour with all the things, and actually, if I like them, just go ahead and book them. Call the hotel, do all that things. They can do it, okay? So we will all have agents, humans, businesses. The funny thing is, we are also going to need those agents to talk to each other. Because if I have my own agent, and the hotel has their own agent, and so on and so forth, well, why would I be in the middle? Let them deal with each other, right? So suddenly, you have an agentic economy that's being created. They'll need to transact. They need to pay to each other. They might need to hire each other, right? They need to negotiate with each other, convince each other, agree, and so on. The agentic economy, we're there. And even more than that, because right now AI can write code, any agent will be able to deploy new agents. That's the swarm of agents. So let's take the agent in charge of helping me with the holidays. That agent will be the manager of my trip. But then he will say, okay, what do I have to do? Okay, flight, hotel, restaurants, car, and so on. He will create from scratch one agent for each one of those tasks. So then they have the agent in charge of hotel and the agent in charge of this and that. They will do their own task. That might need to create new agents, like from thin air, just for that job, and they will report back. So suddenly, an agent will become, and can become, the head of an entire organization of agents that he created and launched and deployed and is managing to perform a certain task. That's exponential, and that's infinite, right? Imagine the agentic interaction between all those agents. That's insane. Will they communicate in English or Romanian or Spanish or whatever language? They will not, because that's inefficient. Very inefficient. They will create their own interfaces to talk to each other much faster. Will we understand what they say? I don't know, right? That will be very fast, right? So that's the future that is not in 5 years or 10 years. That's the future in the coming months, year, 2 years, 3 years. Good. Still okay? Right. By the way, we still have that flawed OS we're not even aware of, right? The agents know about us, we don't know about them and us. So, we're in a good shape. The bad news in all that, because that could be super cool. Life is beautiful. We can stay home, enjoy our lives, still get paid while our agents interact with the agents of the company we work for. That's cool. Good, but the question is, who is behind those agents? Well, the question is, who is behind ChatGPT and Claude and Google? Well, that's the big question. It's very simple, right? There's only 3, 4 huge, massive AI companies in the Western world. That's OpenAI, you know about it, ChatGPT. Main investor, Microsoft. Anthropic, this is Claude, Claude.ai, that's another great agent. Main investor, Amazon. Google Gemini, that's Google. We have like an outsider. I kind of like it because it's an outsider, as much as you could call it. It's Grok, which is from X, from Twitter, that's Elon Musk. Quite different, if you ask me, but I will put it up there as well. Those are the big AI agents. And by the way, now OpenAI is inside your iPhone, so that's with all iOS. And Google it's on all Android phones. Now, what operates the world? Android. Good. So now we know that AI from 2 companies are in our daily lives. I hope our government is safe. We're in EU, we say bad words to Trump. I can't say the word, but you know, we say, yeah, Trump, we don't like you so much. But guess what? EU, in their great wisdom, decided to adopt the clouds of Google and Microsoft. So all our government in Europe runs on Microsoft and Google. Brilliant. So everything, it's in the hands of 2 companies. Who's behind that? Well, US on one side, of course. Europe a bit, does a couple of things. China, of course. This has become, obviously, because you realize the importance of it, it has become a matter of national sovereignty. Trump, the first day he assumed office, one of the first executive orders he signed is $500 billion to be invested in AI. That's $500 billion. Same thing happened in China. Same thing happened with the Arab countries, between Saudi and Dubai and so on. So it's about $2 trillion that have been committed to AI only in 2024, 2025, right, to move forward. So that's way beyond anything else in technology. There might be a reason behind that. They don't invest money for nothing, okay? What bothers me most is that those AI models are trained, you know, they're trained on data. And what kind of data? Well, data that is coming from sources that they decide. I don't know what kind of data, but probably not the data that's in contradiction with maybe US views of the world, right? Or Chinese views of the world, if you talk about the Chinese models. So each time you interact with your ChatGPT or each time your autonomous agent will do stuff for you, they will do it based on those data sets and those biases that are part of those models. I'm not sure I like that, right? Because I don't really know how they think and why they think. Do they have my best interest in mind? I kind of doubt. Also, when we interact with these things, we feel super relaxed. We say, oh my God, this is my little private space where I can tell ChatGPT how I feel today, and I'm going to ask him what's his advice if I have a conversation a bit tough with my girlfriend, boyfriend, daughter, coworker, or maybe I have this problem with the tax authorities. I'm going to upload a couple of documents, ask him what to do. Where is that data going? It says somewhere, oh, don't worry, we're not going to use that at all. I don't know, I don't believe it. I don't, I'm sorry. And we know it's true, because that's the public face of the company, but behind that we have all the 3 letters, agencies, at least in the US, there's probably other letters in other countries, that collect that data no matter what, right? And they use it. So there's zero privacy, really. Now, I know what everyone is saying. I don't have anything to hide. Why privacy? I'm okay. I pay my taxes. I don't. You don't have anything to hide. Well, good for you. I can pick any one of you, invite him on stage, and let that person, and I'm going to ask questions about this nasty message you sent a couple of days at midnight to someone that wasn't very happy with you. Or that thing you did at some point in an email you sent and that was deleted maybe. Or that picture you took, or that message you posted somewhere. Would you share that with everybody here? You wouldn't. So maybe you don't have to hide anything for the authorities. You're not a criminal, but you do have privacy. And that's your right to privacy. We'll all have our stuff, right? I don't want this information to be in the hands of an organization. Now you would tell, yeah, but who cares about what I do? Well, they actually don't care about you for sure. That's a fact. But the moment they want to do something with you as a collective, yeah, they will, because the data and the AI will find exactly what they want. You know, we're treated as statistics. You know, as Stalin used to say, you know, 1 death is a tragedy, 1 million deaths is a statistic. It's just a statistic. We are all statistics. We don't care, we're the herd, right? So let's throw that to AI. By the way, government, you know, all politicians are stupid. Maybe they are, I don't know. I think they're good actors. I think they're great at what they do. So the question is, how do we vote? Why do we vote? I don't want to touch this conversation here, because I know in Romania it's a bit of an issue, and it's very polarized issue, when I think it shouldn't be. But you know, this writer, Harari, who wrote *Sapiens* and a bunch of great books, he's an advisor to the World Economic Forum, which I don't know, I don't really have that organization heart, you know, in my heart. I don't know why. I mean, probably because the head of the World Economic Forum looks like, for me, like the mega super villain in a James Bond movie. So Klaus Schwab, you know, I don't know, so he's an advisor, and he was saying, well, obviously people cannot vote because nobody can really understand what's at stake for a state in a government. So it's too complicated for people to understand, and it takes too much time to understand, and also for politicians to understand. So the best way is that AI does the job. Why elect people when we can have an AI who understands all the problems, all the solutions, and has all the data to make the right decisions for us? I want to live in that world, of course, don't you? Right? God. Okay. So, we are just a bunch of regular people controlled by big data, okay? So we have 2 choices. Accept AI without question, you know, and not necessarily understand how it works, but, you know, surrender, become dependent, choose comfort and safety. That's one way. The other way is to use it to our advantage. To say, okay, well, I'm going to use it to my advantage. I'm going to learn, I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to do a bunch of things so I know what's going on. I understand better who I am, how I think, how these things work, and then I'm going to use as well myself, AI, to fight for my, not against, I don't care about that, to fight for my own freedom and sovereignty. And I'm going to use the same tool because it's a great tool. So that preserves freedom. And Benjamin Franklin said something very smart many years ago, right? And I think we should all meditate about that. You know, if we give our liberty for just a bit of safety, we will lose both. That's proven throughout the ages, all the time. People. Our dear friend Sasha gave us an incredible presentation of Web3 this morning. So, for me, that's one of the ways to answer to that problem. How do we move forward? I will not go through that again, okay, because Sasha did a great job. What I would say is just that, because that allows me to transition to how AI and Web3 connect together. Right. So blockchains, a couple of things to remember from what Sasha said. Is decentralized. There's no boss. There's no owner. There's no corporation. Code is there to stay. Nobody can change it without everybody knowing about it. It's transparent. It's immutable, right? It's above all, permissionless. I don't have to ask permission to anyone to write code for a blockchain or to put my data in there or to transact with anybody. There's no bank, no government, nobody who can tell me, no, sir, you can't do that. I can because it's permissionless. It's anonymous. I would put a little question mark there because nothing is really anonymous in our world. But in theory it is because a wallet doesn't have a name, doesn't have an address, doesn't have anything. I can, yes, indeed, track your IP address, find out from where it comes, call your ISP, and I will know who you are and come to your door and knock. I can do that, but I have to have the powers to do it. Otherwise, I don't know to whom a wallet belongs at all. But they're still anonymous, and they're great because they're transparent and auditable. I can see all the track records on all the transactions done on the Bitcoin blockchain and all the other blockchains everywhere. There's no way to hide. People say, oh, crypto is for criminals. Criminals are not stupid. They're not going to use crypto to hide. They're going to use the banks to hide. That's much better, right? Privacy. Yeah, banks will not say what you've done. This is completely transparent. You can track everything that goes everywhere. So, what I like, the W in Web3, it's we the people. It's for us, right? Because it gives us, as Sasha said, true digital ownership, right? Digital scarcity, composability, meaning that whatever you do here or what I do there, they can compose and discuss with each other. They're not like separate companies, separate silos, separate databases. Everything is composable. Okay. What I most like is code is law. Why I like that? Because there's a thing called smart contracts, right? And this is kind of the centralized systems that we know in a bank or at any kind of organization that are put on the blockchain. The code is there to be read by anyone, and it's enforced by the blockchain. So it says what it does what it says, period. And I think that's essential, because you can put everything on the blockchain and replace a bunch of things somewhere else. So what do Web3 allow us to do? Okay, they allow us to be our bank or financial institution. We can have access to the power that only wealthy people have, which is the power to access not just having a bank account, that's stupid, no. It's making investments, it's having yield from our investment, it's trading, is generating a bunch of very complex things that if you don't have $1 million or 500,000, right, at least, you can't do that. Go to your bank, nobody will give that to you, and you'll be always, the poor guy. So if you have 10 euros, you can go ahead and be your own bank, your own financial institution. Don't depend on a government to see or to do something for you, or on your bank to do something for you, because they will not. They don't care. So also keep in mind that what's important in the financial institutions is that the notion of ownership is quite crucial. You think you have money. Well, unless the money is cash in your pocket, if it sits on your bank account, it's not yours. When you open the account, you sign the contract saying that the money is the bank's money now, and what you own is the right to access it under certain circumstances that are defined by the bank, and on top of the bank, you have the Ministry of Finance, and on top of that, the government and the security issues, and then the EU and other bigger banks on top of it. So thinking that you can access your own money at any point in time is completely ridiculous. It doesn't happen, and we can see that in countries where there's a crisis, right? Your money is taken. On the blockchain, the money is yours because you hold the keys to it. You hold it in the wallet. Nobody can take it for you. Even if you memorize the words, because there's 12 words that are memorable, you can go naked, go from one point to the earth to the other. I'm not recommend doing that naked, but anyway, if you are, okay, and get any money you have there anywhere on the planet because you remember your words of your passphrase. And nobody can take it from you. Nobody. Even if they would, they can't, unless they have the passphrase. That's unbreakable. So that's fundamental, right? Then art, of course, tokenize real-world assets. Yeah, if I create a contract that owns something in a building or an apartment or a mine or anything of value, I can create tokens for that. Okay. Or other things like, decentralized mobile networks, decentralized Wi-Fi, where people can have their own routers at home and share it as a mesh network, and everybody receives tokens that have a value because you provide a service to the entire community, and people pay for the service, and you get some of the money. Well, that's cool, because in a way you're also shareholders of a community network. So that's really interesting. So now that we kind of had a refresher of what's Web3, let's go back to AI. So how AI helps Web3 first? Well, first of all, you've realized that Web3, you may be already into that, you might have a wallet, but still, I'm in it since 2013, really. And I built one company fully based on blockchains and crypto and so on. I am still learning every single day. And I made mistakes, and I lost money, because I FOMO'd, fear of missing out, like Sasha put it, but also because I made technical mistakes, because it's quite complex so far. So it's a bit of a, you have to be careful. I invite you to do it precisely because of that. Like Raluca said, face your fears. Go there. Go and check for your problems. Go and do Web3 now. Don't wait. But be careful, which means be alert, have awareness. AI is helping you. You don't need anybody. You don't need me. You don't need any expert to tell you what to do. You have AI. AI will tell you what to do. Paste a screenshot. Ask, what do I do that? How do I do that? What is it for? What does it mean? Or just, what's a wallet? How do I install a wallet? How do I transact? Or go even deeper, right? So, even better, code is law, I said, okay? Well, imagine you put, I don't know, 1,000 euros on, in a decentralized finance platform that you have it, so 1,000 euros equivalent in Bitcoin, okay? You don't want to touch your Bitcoin because you know it's going to appreciate in time. And that's my advice as well, you know, look at Bitcoin closely, no financial advice, but look at it closely. And you have your Bitcoin, but you want to borrow money against your Bitcoin. Have Bitcoin as your collateral. So you put your Bitcoin in a smart contract on the chain. It's not no company, nobody. It's just a smart contract. And you can borrow stable coins, USDT or whatever you want, right? To have cash and do whatever you want against your Bitcoin. You put that in a smart contract. How do you know this is secure? Well, if it wouldn't be, you would hear about it. But now you can verify it. Go to the smart contract address, paste it in ChatGPT, and tell it, what does it say? What does it do? Does it really reimburse my Bitcoin, give back my Bitcoin if I pay back my loan? What's the interest rate? Is it true that it's just, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 5%? It will tell you. It will interpret the code as law. That's amazing, right? And you will see all these things happening in the UI of the Web3, so navigating will be much easier. And that will help you navigate it. So obviously the new economy, that's what's going to happen, right? Except that agents now can have their own wallet. They can transact among each other, right? They can pay each other through wallets in a second. They can have authority. Marshall Islands now gave legal status to agents. It's a fact, on chain, right? The most interesting thing is how Web3 brings decentralized AI to us, the people, okay? Well, thanks to Web3, we can train our own data, right? We can have our own models that work on data that's uncensored, that's unbiased. We can decentralize that. Even the compute can be decentralized on thousands or millions of laptops, and you earn tokens thanks to the compute you do for decentralized LLMs. You provide your data, but so even your information and your chats remain private thanks to the blockchain, right? If you have data that's valuable, you provide it to others, encrypted through the blockchain with zero knowledge proof, and you can earn money from the data you provide because it trains other models. And obviously, you know, we don't have a kill switch because something important in the previous model that's centralized, at any point, those big companies can say, no agents anymore. Or your agent used to be able to do this and this until now it's gone. Well, we're dead, right? Take our phones out from us. We can't survive one day. Take internet. The world would crumble. Now, in a year or two, take AI out from us. We won't be able to survive when all the agents will interact with each other, right? I think that's a major, crucial problem. So, in the decentralized AI world, there's no kill switch. I have my keys. I have my wallet. I can use AI as much as I want with the data I control and with the people I control. I love that quote. Because that's your invitation to move forward, right? Do you want to be smashed by the new technology coming at you, or you want to embrace it and be on top of it? So, what I'm asking you to do, I have a request. You've listened the whole day, and the day is not over. There's going to be great things in the afternoon about all those ideas. You need to process them, digest them, but these are seeds in your mind, okay? Take those seeds with you, nurture them, then start spreading them. Because the only way forward for us as a humanity, right, is to be together, not separated, not split as our governments and media wants us to be split, because that's easy to control. But let's build again the communities. That's what Web3 is about as well. You know, we are communities by nature. Let's get back to that. Spread that in your community. Build your own community, right? And pay attention to your own individual sovereignty. Individual sovereignty. You are born to be free. okay? I know it's more comfortable to not think about it, but that's not an option, I think, right? So I thank you very much, and I'm happy to stay in touch with you if you want to reach out. This is my email, this is my Twitter, X, or Telegram handle. If you want to reach out, happy to direct you to wherever you want. And I offer you the empowerment, not the authorization because it's permissionless, right? But to go ahead and build your own sovereignty. Thank you very much.